Hello, welcome to next episode of Jono Talks F1. It's finally race week. We made it. It feels like an eternity since it was last a race. I figure we're done with gyro reviews now. Since it's race week, we'll dive into the gossip and what's happening up towards the race itself. And one of the main things to notice is there's some new liveries for this weekend. So we got Alpine going with an Indiana Jones style livery. Their pictures for social media, I don't think does it justice. I think the orange bits that you see on here, I think they're actually like a leather sort of look to them. It's a bit of a shame because if they hadn't have doused it so much in orange, you'd be able to actually see the texture and the look they were going for. But it looks a bit like the crappy McLaren livery from back in the day of when they first started to go with orange and they lost a lot of sponsors. But if they'd have actually took some decent pictures for their social media, we'd actually be able to see what it looks like. There's a picture of it on screen for anyone who might be able to see. And yeah, exactly that. The pictures don't do it justice, and I hope it looks better in real life. The other one we've got is McLaren. I feel like they've done Chrome before. Am I wrong there? I feel like we've seen Chrome this year. But Oscar Piastri did a social media pitch. I was going to say pitched and post. Sort of mimicking the carbon fiber guy. You ever seen a guy who points out all the carbon fiber on the car and he goes, carbon fiber? Carbon fiber. Well, he's kind of done it with Chrome. 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 But yeah, that's essentially it. They've just gone with Chrome on theirs. It actually looks really good, to be fair. Nice sort of change, but it does look pretty good. And the last one we've got is HAAS. It's their home race for their constructor. Obviously, they used to have Logan Sargent, who it would have been his home race again, because there's also Miami and Vegas. He's American, isn't he? Yeah, but it's a constructor home race for them, and they've gone with a very American livery. It looks sort of American football inspired with the eagle on the side there, looking more like a NFL jersey or something like that. But it looks pretty good. I like it, to be honest. If that was their normal livery, I would be very happy with that, to be fair. Or going back to the Alpine one, I think I have seen a different version of this, and it does look quite good. So we'll see when it's on track. See what it looks like when it's on track. In other news, Binotto was on record saying Schumacher might be in contention for a 2025 Sauber seat. So Mattia Binotto is the Audi chief now, and he was saying Mick Schumacher has been evaluated as an option for Sauber's unfulfilled seat in 2025. Apparently, it's between Gabriele Bortoleto and Shui. For me, it's no doubt it's a great idea. Why we haven't had Mick in a seat already after his short term in Haas is beyond me. Personally, they should never have dropped him from Haas anyway, but it is what it is in that sense. I think a seat in the Audi team would be awesome for him. A huge step in making his mark in F1. But I'm not sure of the logistics of it. As far as I'm aware, Audi will not be a sister team of Ferrari. No, sorry, saying that, Mick's actually signed with Mercedes, isn't he? So I'm not sure that Audi will be a sister team of Mercedes. Does that mean he'll have to cut ties with Mercedes to sign with Audi? As far as I'm aware, Audi will be going into this as their own competitor, working with the current engine supplier. I can't remember who that is, but they'll be working with that current engine supplier to make their own mark on the game. So Mick might have to sever his ties with whoever he's already with. I think it would definitely be a positive move for Mick. He's a very skilled driver and definitely has a future in the sport. He's in that category for me of drivers who shouldn't have been released from the sport, along with Danny Rick. Especially when you've got the likes of Lance Stroll, who is failing to leave a lasting impression on the sport. He's just sort of existing when you've got a lot of other people that can make their mark on the sport. I feel Mick hasn't really had the chance to show what he is or isn't made of yet in the sport. HAAS were not competing at any sort of competitive level when he was in the team, and he hasn't raced for any other team yet. It'd be especially interesting to see him in a position where he has to prove himself. Because if he does sign for Audi, he will definitely need to make an impression and show they have made a good choice in signing him, because pressure is going to be on that team to get results thick and fast. It's not easy for any new team coming into the sport. Jenson Button practically made Braun GP what it is, and if that would have been anybody else, if Lance Stroll would have been in Braun, I don't think you would see it as the Mercedes that it is today. Speaking of teams of the past, Toyota's return to F1 in a new HAAS tie-up. Their sort of new official technical partner, I think is the term, for its own racing division. They have endurance races and was it the World Rally Championship? I'm having to remember that off the top of my head. I think I could be wrong there, but yeah, I think it's World Rally because you've got the Yaris GR and stuff like that. But it's through Toyota's racing division that they're a new official technical partner. Toyota obviously had their own team in F1 a little while back. I think that was from 2002 to 2009. And that saw some talented and some not so talented drivers use their car. But this partnership will be on a different basis, so it will allow them to open more doors and share knowledge and resources between HAAS and Toyota to benefit from the divisions of design and technical manufacturing services. So I think from this weekend, you'll see the GR logo on the cars. It should be from this weekend onwards. The GR, interesting fact, actually stands for Gazoo Racing. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a name of someone within Toyota or something like that, but yeah, that's what it stands for, Gazoo Racing. That was news to me when I found out. From a manufacturer and factory development point of view, this opens massive opportunities for HAAS. There's something so unique about F1 is it's not everything you see on track that matters. There is thousands of people putting in countless hours of work to not only build the cars from the ground up, that's everything from aero, suspension, engine, literally everything they build from the ground up, and it has to be the team's each own designs that they work from. But it's also the research and development to improve each and every aspect of the cars in every minute detail that they can improve on. So the ability now to have such great partnership opens the doors to much more knowledge and will hopefully propel them a bit more in the sport towards the top in the constructors, or at least more mid-pack. Toyota are no slouch in the motorsport industry. They have done considerable things. So that knowledge will definitely help out HAAS. One thing I'm surprised at though is they haven't breached out into any American partnerships. Obviously HAAS is an American team, and we see F1 visiting the American calendar more often. We have 3 American races now at least. So there's COTA, there's Miami, there's Vegas, which is still to come, I think, isn't it? Vegas is 3 from the end. I don't think it's the next one. I think it's the one after this. So I am surprised that they haven't reached out to any American partnerships. Maybe we'll see that in the future. Or, yeah. Trying to think who they could actually partner up with as well. There's not many that come to mind. Maybe Corvette, but they haven't really done any considerable things in the motorsport industry. I don't know. That's a bit of a mind bender for another time, I think. Looking ahead to the race weekend, though, it feels so nice to be able to say that as well. That's pretty much it, gossip-wise. So, in terms of racing, we're getting into the nitty gritty of it now. So this is a time where McLaren are going to really regret those missed opportunities they had earlier in the year. And this is where, in the past episodes, I was saying they need to be making the most of each and every point. This is where it could bite them in the ass now. The first thing McLaren are going to want to focus on is what is achievable. And right now, that is the Constructors' Championship. They're going to want to get that in the bag as soon as possible. Currently, they lead Red Bull by 41 points in the Constructors, which sounds a lot, but one bad race and they can kiss that goodbye. So they really need to focus on getting both cars high up in the podium places to limit as much as possible the points available to Red Bull. Let's remember, this is made easier each and every race by Sergio Perez failing to turn up each and every race. You have your conspiracies saying that Max's car is different from Perez's. And you have the other side of the coin where they're saying he doesn't have it in him anymore, or it's just not there, they've not developed his car, he's not the man he used to be, and things like that. For me, I think Perez is a very talented driver, but failure to be finishing anywhere near your teammate needs to stop. Whoever it is, different cars or anything like that, the team should be prioritising the Constructors' Championship at all costs now. They know that the World Championship is at risk, and it's a bit of a stretch to still try and defend it, but it's worth defending, but it's also worth defending the Constructors' Championship. That gives your factory so much of an advantage, and the money boost that it gives you for next year to develop and continue trying to be champions. It needs to prioritise, but Sergio needs to perform. And that's what will aid McLaren. Each and every race where Sergio doesn't perform, Piastri is well right up there with Norris, getting double podiums each weekend. That's what's put them in this great position now to challenge Red Bull for that Constructors' Championship. And it is said that Red Bull do have some upgrades coming to COTA, Circuit of the Americas, which is very unusual in my eyes. These are the last races of the season. This far on in the season, they're still looking to bring upgrades to the car. Is it just me that is baffled by this, or is it a last-ditch effort to try and salvage some performance out of this car? Are they scared of McLaren? Why are they still trying to develop the car when at this point in the season they should be looking to next year's car? They should have, because most teams now are done. I mean, we don't know what these upgrades are, or personally, I don't know what these upgrades are. They might have been released by now, especially by the time this has been recorded and posted. But I don't think it'll matter. I don't think the upgrades that they'll bring will matter. McLaren are finishing this season strong, and for me, they're going to win the Constructors this year. It's more about sealing second place for Red Bull, I think. But they shouldn't be bringing upgrades to the car. 6 races from the end, they should be thinking about next year's car and where they've gone wrong with this year's. Just try to start that research early. I think it's very strange that they're still bringing upgrades. As far as I know, other teams aren't doing that. Mercedes might be trying some little things here and there, but it could be the same for Red Bull. They might have some small upgrades that they think will unlock a bit more performance, but we will wait and see, I guess. If McLaren field the Constructors, though, it'll be a massive achievement for the team. The stats say it'll be their first since 1998, which I thought they won one with Lewis Hamilton. Obviously, I'm wrong, but I thought that not in 2008 when he won his first championship. I don't know actually, because he struggled to win one for another couple of years after that. Yeah, it might be true actually. 1998, that's crazy. Yeah, that'll mean a lot to the factory then. If they can steal the Constructors this year, you'll see some big celebrations. But it's also a complete reflection on just how far that car has actually come. They are no joke anymore. That car is now the car to beat. And they did that. an amazing feat. So just in that premise, I kind of want McLaren to win the Constructors this year based on that alone. Even at the beginning of the year, they weren't in the position they are at now. They were competitive, but you wouldn't have put them down to being Constructors leaders. Red Bull were the ones that were wiping the floor of everybody. Whether they had that asymmetric braking system or not, Red Bull were owning. So for McLaren now to be 41 points ahead of Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship, that's pretty good. No, it's not just pretty good, it's actually amazing. We will see if they can continue that form into this weekend's race. I think Vegas is going to be a very interesting race. I think Williams will actually perform quite well in Vegas because they have some good straight line speed, but that's getting a little bit ahead of myself. Lewis's performance is going to be interesting to see this weekend. I know I said this season. He managed to actually get a good qualifying in Singapore. He got third, which he himself has said his qualifying performance as of late has been pretty terrible, and he's not wrong, to be fair. His qualifying has been pretty shocking recently. We've not seen the Lewis that we know. I mean, he has strong cars in the past, but when he qualifies 13th, I think that's more a reflection of the driver not turning up on the day. So for him to be getting third in Singapore, that was really great to see. This strategy the next day was the thing that screwed us over there, putting him on soft tyres at the beginning when he wanted to be on mediums, and he made that clear. It's also come out that it was a clear decision by Mercedes to put him on the soft tyres, not a decision by Lewis. Nearing the end of the season, is this going to be a recurring factor now, though? Lewis needs to keep his qualifying performances at the top of his game, which is easier said than done. It's especially easier for me to sit here and say. But he needs to do it for his own mentality, really. It's good that the qualifying woes came to an end, but for that work to then be undone by the team for him, it's going to be very disheartening. But if he can carry that strong performance in qualifying over and just keep it going just for his mentality going into Ferrari into next season, it'll work wonders for him. He has won at COTA 5 times now, so he obviously likes the track and has a smooth rhythm when it comes to getting results. I think qualifying on Saturday could be very interesting. We might see some surprises. I think Red Bull will struggle here. It's going to be McLaren's pole position to lose, I think. And then it'll come down to if Lando gets pole position, he's going to have to get a great start off the line. But if Lewis could turn up in the car that's set up right for him and actually nail the setup in practice sessions, we could see Mercedes getting pole again. And then it'll be up to the team and himself to get the strategy nailed down to a T. We don't want strategy to be the reason or the blame again for much poor finish position from him. Getting my words mixed up. We've seen team decisions undo his work in the past and he ignores them, but it couldn't be ignored this time when they started on soft tyres that he didn't want to be on, so we don't want that to be a recurring factor at all. Speaking of recurring factors, move on to a sector of the Red Bull team, getting rid of drivers. Liam Lawson will have his first race back in the sport this weekend. He'll be met with, or will he actually? Will he be met with some boos from the fans, or will all that with Danny Rick blown over by now? Do people still think that he should have waited, or will they still hold it against him? I mean, the only thing you could argue is that he did wrong was not leaving enough time to announce his seat in F1. And I get that. It's a massive promotion. He was excited and very happy for the opportunity. If it was me, I'd be so damn excited. But when the whole of social media was blowing up with their displeasure for the news of Danny Rick having his contract terminated, the term read the room comes to mind. I think it might be a tough weekend for him, especially being a young driver. It could be a very character building weekend for him. The one thing he needs to do, though, is have a strong weekend and show fans, mainly, not the team, because the team already believe in him, apparently. They wouldn't have replaced Danny Rick so sharpish if they didn't believe in him, but he needs to show the fans that he deserves to be there. If he can put a strong performance in, then he can really turn around the events of the last couple of months. So hopefully he can do that. If he has a bad weekend, it's going to shoot him in the foot quite a bit, to be fair. In other news, sort of, though, it's apparently rumoured that if Sergio Perez doesn't start to improve and Lawson proves himself in the next 6 races, i.e. has good performances, manages to keep the car on track and not in the barriers, and actually maybe get some points finishing positions, which, let's face it, Checo has not been able to do. He could find himself, and when I say he, I mean Liam Lawson, could find himself sitting alongside Max Verstappen next year. And that's come from Red Bull themselves. That's not gossip. That's actually come from Helmut Marko, I think, was recorded saying that. And that would be infuriating, to be honest. Yeah, it's great for Liam Lawson, but on the other side of the coin, we lose out on Danny Rick having no real proper goodbye. No real end to the season. No real satisfactory ending for him. He's just been replaced by Liam Lawson to then just sort of sit in the seat for 2 seconds and then potentially go to Red Bull. And then potentially have the whole episode again of Red Bull having an empty seat over Christmas while they try and find someone to fill Lawson's seat while he replaces Checo. It's typical Red Bull antics at play. He couldn't write it. It's typical Red Bull. I get that Sergio Perez isn't doing a great job right now, but you could leave Danny Rick in the RB till the end of the season and make an announcement next year saying Checo has now been replaced by Liam Lawson. I don't think anybody would have been upset by that either. I think that would have made more sense. Danny Rick is doing work at RB. Is he good enough to be promoted to Red Bull? Maybe not, but maybe that's because age isn't on his side anymore. Liam Lawson, new kid on the block, nice and young, very talented. Yeah, I could see him sitting next to Max Verstappen any day, especially if he gets that Red Bull finishing higher than Sergio Perez did. But if that does happen, I'd be infuriated. I mean, let's flip that coin back over. It'd be great for Liam. And it would be the quickest promotion in F1 history. 6 races at RB and then boom, straight into the Red Bull. Sitting alongside Max Verstappen. That would be crazy. Would look pretty good on your CV as well, wouldn't it? On kind of the subject of Danny Rick, he was pictured this week wearing a hat that said something like, and I'm going to butcher this now because I can't actually remember it. I think it said, "Retired, my only job now is happiness." It was something along those lines, I'm pretty sure. I've completely forgot what that hat said, but it was typical Danny Rick kind of humour. I love it. I'm still annoyed that he's out for the rest of the season and very possibly the sport altogether. There was rumours he was making a massive comeback this weekend, actually, and that he had a race seat for this weekend, but sadly, I'm pretty sure that's all it is. I'm pretty sure it's just rumours. Very sadly. I still feel like they did him wrong and I'm still annoyed about it. It would have been amazing if he had a seat this weekend, but it would have been very strange as well because they would have had to get rid of somebody else to let them have that seat. And we've been in the same position but with someone else. Like, do they deserve to be out? Unless it's one person that we all know is underperforming all the time. But yeah, the whole situation is just very sticky at the moment at Red Bull. There's always, I mean, let's not forget the whole situation with Christian Horner throughout the season. That's just been brushed under the carpet. All those complaints that were made about him have not been solved. It's just been brushed under the carpet, which tells me that, especially with Adrian Newey leaving, because of those rumours tells me that it's not a very happy situation at Red Bull at the moment, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see Christian Horner being replaced over the Christmas break. Once this year is done, I wouldn't be surprised if we get an announcement saying new team principal or something like that. I've always said that Helmut Marko doesn't deserve a seat in Red Bull. I don't know why he's there. I don't know why he's a advisor, as they call him. He did 4 races in the sport, and he didn't finish 3 of those, if I remember rightly. So I'm not sure what he advises on, but I don't think he deserves a seat in the sport, especially the comments he's made. Jos Verstappen, I can understand him being there, but I think he needs to do a bit more of what Anthony Hamilton has done. Am I thinking the right one there? Anthony Hamilton is Lewis's dad, right? Anyway, Lewis's dad. I think Jos Verstappen needs to do what he's done. Take a step back, let your son race, and just let it be. If you're going to manage him from behind closed doors. You do not need to be in the garage all the time. You don't need to be making decisions for Red Bull. You don't need to be interjecting with your own ideas for what should be happening or should not be happening. The way Red Bull works is very close-knit as long as you're winning. If you're not winning, I feel like they want to replace you with someone who will get the job done. I think these could be Christian Horner's last moments in Red Bull. And I could be completely wrong. With next season, he could be, starting the season strong as CEO still. Well, not CEO, but team principal of Red Bull. But I feel like after what's happened this season, I wouldn't be surprised if we see, maybe not it being called a retirement, but being replaced by someone. Unless they do have relations with the FIA, these kind of things don't get brushed under the carpet for long. They always come back out at some point. The question is, why has it been brushed under the carpet now? And I don't think that question will ever get answered, because FIA obviously know who was using the asymmetric brake system, and there's only one car performance that has tremendously sloped since the ban of asymmetric braking systems were banned, and that's the Red Bull. So last time something like that was banned because it was considered cheating, there was massive penalties for the team using it, and the team was named as it was banned. So make of that as you will. This got into a whole different conversation very quickly. So in terms of the race weekend, I don't know yet. It could be eventful. We have very strong chance of safety car. It's a great track. There's a lot of speed in the track, and it's almost reminiscent of Silverstone in that first sector. So we could be in for a great qualifying, because it'll be the more technical minded drivers that will do better in qualifying. I think that's why Lewis likes COTA. I think that's why he's won here 5 times. He has had some very strong pole position times as well, so could be quite good. The mid speed does suit the Red Bull, but the McLaren is the car to beat right now. So I do think that if they are still favouring Lando Norris and they want to chase for the World Drivers' Championship, it could be Norris's pole position to lose. But again, if he does get pole, he needs to nail the starts and he needs to keep it. Last race was a walk in the park for him, really. So I feel like it is Lando's race to lose. Failing that, Piastri, if he still thinks he's got something to prove in the team, he could just run away with it. He sends another audacious move down the inside of Lando Norris, sort of saying, screw you, I'm taking the win. I'm not bothered if you're racing for the championship or not. I want to prove myself as a first driver. Then Oscar could be audacious enough to do that. I think he is that kind of guy where we may see another Mark Webber or Sebastian Vettel kind of tension in the team. But let's hope it's not going to get in the way of championship points. 6 races left, it very well could do, and Max Verstappen will be laughing all the way till the end if it does. All he needs to do is finish second behind Lando Norris every race, and he will still win the championship. So Lando has it all to do, and even if he does it all, it's out of his hands now. And if he does not finish first every race, then those odds just increase in Max's favour. So he needs to qualify first and win first each race now, and then hope that something happens to Max so that he doesn't finish second. Which is ironically where he needs his teammate. He needs his teammate to be finishing right there with him so that Max can't get those points. I'm going to say Norris is going to finish first for qualifying. I reckon we're going to see Lewis in second, Oscar Piastri third, Max fourth. That is very bold, and I just realised how bold that actually is now that I've said that. But I'm sticking with it. Race-wise, I think Lando's going to win. And I absolutely have no idea who will be second or third. I feel like there will be 2 safety cars. I'm going to say that. I don't know why, I just have a feeling. It would be so good if we get a fight to the end, though. I mean, I don't want anything to happen to Max Verstappen, but it would be great if, like 2021 season, that was one of the best seasons ever until it was ruined by controversy. It should never have happened, but we won't go into that because that's a whole lengthy new discussion. Well, imagine if it comes to the last race and it's Max versus Lando, 2 mates off the track. That won't last long if Lando wins, but yeah. We will find out. For now, though, it's finally race week again, and we can finally look forward to some racing again. Until next time, see you later.